So hello students, today we are going to start new chapter, that is chapter 2, biological classification. So as we know, classification is process of dividing organisms into group, and study of classification, identification, nomenclature together known as taxonomy. So this is the part of taxonomy. So please remember taxonomy. So this is the branch of biology in which we study about the classification of organisms. We talk about the identification of organisms and also we talk about the nomenclature. So today we will try to understand scientific classification and different systems of classification. So first scientific attempt or classification was made by a scientist. He is the father of biology, known as Aristotle. So all of you know, all of you have heard the name of scientist. Aristotle made first attempt to classify the organisms on certain scientific basis. Basically, organisms are being classified into different groups from ancient time. So like our ancestors used to classify organisms on basis of their uses. Like we talk about plants. Plants were classified on basis of their medicinal properties, and some plants are non-medicinal, some are crop plants. So if we classify organisms on basis of these type of economic importance or their only appearance or their area where they grow, so these classifications are not scientific. Scientific classification means there should be certain basis. That basis should be standard and that should not undergo frequent change. Such type of basis are called scientific basis, like we say mode of nutrition. So mode of nutrition generally remain fixed for certain group of organism. Scientific classification, as I mentioned, the first attempt made by Aristotle, he classified plants into three major groups. So these are herbs on basis of their morphology, and shrubs and trees. Similarly, he classified animals. Animals on basis of either presence of red bloods or absence of or without red blood. So he classified them into anemia. Anemia means presence of red blood. So organisms which have red blood are classified into a group, that is anemia, and anemia, okay, means without red blood. So he used the basis, that is the presence or absence of color of blood. Okay, in case of plant he used the basis, the morphology, the size. So he classified plants into herbs, shrubs and trees, and animals into anemia and anemia. Okay, so with red blood and without red blood. So please remember the name of scientist who made first attempt to classify organism on scientific basis. Now if we look into what is need to classify organism, most basic thing we already know, organisms to be classified, because in living world we can see there is a huge diversity. So all the organisms cannot be studied at a time. We cannot study all organisms at a time, or by studying a single organism we cannot understand about all the organisms, because there is a great diversity among organisms. There are thousands species of plants, lakhs species of animals are present in the living world. So these organisms cannot be studied by an individual. Okay, so they to be classified, they to be put into certain groups, and to make our study easy and systematic. So first point we can say organisms to be classified. Okay, so we can say need of classification. Then we will take different systems of classification, modern systems of classification. First need to make our studies easy and systematic. When we put organisms into group on certain scientific basis that make our study easy, we can easily study the organism. If we study single organism, any typical example of organism, we can come to know about complete group of organisms, right? It is possible only when we classify or we carry out the grouping of organisms. Similarly, when we put them into particular group, that become more systematic. Second very important thing, when we divide organism into group, we classify the organisms, okay, we can easily understand the relationship between different group of organisms. Broadly we take like plants and animals. So by grouping them into the various taxa, various category, okay, we can easily understand the relationship. We can understand relationship between various group of plants. We can understand relationship between very close groups, far groups. Okay, so to understand, classification help us to understand a relationship among them. So this is very important. Help us to understand the relationship among organisms. This is very important. To understand relationship, how birds are related to reptiles, how apes are related to mammals, how algae are related to bryophytes. Likewise, to understand relationship among different group of organisms, within group of organisms, we have to classify the organisms. Then classification includes some basis, including the phylogenetic. Phylogenetic means some evolutionary traits also, evolutionary relationships also. So that tells us about the history of different group of organisms which were present in the past, which are present today. So by classifying organisms, we can understand their evolutionary relationships also. So classification help us to understand evolutionary relationship. Please remember, it also help us to understand evolutionary relationship. And we use evolutionary relationship as the basis of classification. If we have some information about their ancestral history, we know about the phylogeny of particular group, that can be a basis of classification. And by studying by dividing them into group, we can understand what is the evolutionary relationship, what is the ancestral relationship among different group of organisms. So broadly we can say that make our studies easy and more systematic. Classification is essential to understand the relationship between different group of organisms. That also tells us about the evolutionary relationship, as well as classification is widely used to study different branches of biology. Like we want to study agriculture, there also classification help. Economic botany, economic geology, okay, to understand the importance of organisms, to understand the biochemistry, to understand various things. Even in sometime we use the genetics to classify the organisms. So this is the interdisciplinary, and classification is one of the very basic thing that biologists have to understand to learn various branches of biology. Anyway, next we should move to the different systems of classification. Different systems of classification proposed by different scientists. With the discovery of new groups, new systems are proposed. So first system which been used for the longer duration, and that system is two kingdom system of classification, which is used by scientists for the longer duration. So two kingdom system of classification was proposed by a famous taxonomist. All of us know the name of the taxonomist, Carolus Linnaeus. Carolus Linnaeus, also considered as the father of taxonomy, because two very important things proposed by the Carolus Linnaeus. He has not only proposed two kingdom system of classification, he also gave the system of scientific nomenclature. That system of nomenclature, all of you know, that is called binomial system of nomenclature. So please remember, Carolus Linnaeus proposed two very important things. So we should write here Linnaeus. So two important work done by Linnaeus. That is, one is he proposed two kingdom system of classification, and second very important function he done is he proposed binomial system of nomenclature. This is still we are using this system, scientific name binomial system of nomenclature. Nomenclature means to give the scientific name, right? That's why he is considered as father of taxonomy. So these two very important work, okay, we have to remember, of the Carolus Linnaeus. So here we are talking about the system of classification. So we will talk about in 1758, okay, Carolus Linnaeus proposed a system of classification that is called two kingdom system of classification. In 1758, okay, two kingdom system of classification. First thing we have to remember here, whenever, as I mentioned, we talk about the system of classification, there should be a specific basis of that classification, and that when we talk about basis of classification, Linnaeus used basis, that is very scientific basis. He used mode of nutrition, okay. Besides that, other factors are also considered, but the most basic basis used for the classification is mode of nutrition. On basis of mode of nutrition, he divided complete living world into two kingdoms. Okay, kingdoms is the kingdom term is the taxon, which is the highest category of classification. So separately we will discuss what are the categories. This is the highest category. This is the taxon, means largest group. Two kingdom. So kingdom Plantae, right? And second kingdom he proposed that is Animalia. So this is Latin word we use for animals, Animalia, and Plantae. So he classified living world into two kingdoms, kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia. Plantae includes, we are talking about basis is mode of nutrition, all the autotrophic, okay, organisms are kept in kingdom Plantae, and all heterotrophic, autotrophic and heterotrophic. Besides that, cell wall is also considered as the basis. So most of the plants have the cell wall, and in the animal there is no cell wall. But here please focus on all the autotrophic organisms are classified with the kingdom Plantae, and all the heterotrophic organisms are classified with the kingdom Animalia. This classification used for the longer duration by the scientist, but with discovery of other group of organisms like other organisms like unicellular, and with development in the science, scientists studied that unicellular also have great diversity. Then they found that there are two types of cells. Certain cells are eukaryotic, another type of cells are prokaryotic, that lead to certain drawbacks. Some scientists found certain drawbacks or kind of shortcomings in the two kingdom classification, right? So this classification was scientific, this is used for the longer duration, but after some time they found certain shortcomings, so we have to focus on shortcomings also. So let's look into certain shortcomings of the two kingdom classification. Even it was scientific, even it is classified organisms on different basis. Plantae here included all type of organisms, that is bacteria. Okay, so let's write here. So in this he included bacteria, fungi, okay, slime molds, etc. Okay, here in Animalia they include all different type of animals, okay, along with animals, protozoans, right? So there were some drawbacks, that there was no proper classification of certain organisms. So let's first list out the shortcomings or drawbacks, then we can discuss about the next system of classification, where these shortcomings are addressed by different scientists. Means different organisms are classified into other kingdoms. More kingdoms are added. More kingdoms are added in the 3 kingdom classification, then 5 kingdom classification, right? So classification is always in the what we can say continuous progress. There we see many updates in the classification. Okay, so let's write some shortcomings. Shortcomings we can say as the drawbacks, right? So we will list out drawbacks on basis of different type of organisms which were not classified properly. Okay, so when you look into first thing, that prokaryotes. Okay, now we know prokaryotic and eukaryotic organisms without nucleus, where a well-defined nucleus is absent, and here we have well-defined nucleus. Eukaryotic or prokaryotic, here we can say bacteria. These are totally different from higher organisms, okay, or from the plant. Prokaryotic and eukaryotic organisms classified together. Organisms classified together. Okay, so it cannot be done. Prokaryotic organism cannot be classified with the eukaryotic, because there is a great variation in the prokaryotic and eukaryotic. They are without nucleus, they don't have well-defined nucleus, and all of us know that eukaryotes have well-defined nucleus. But bacteria were classified with the kingdom Plantae. Bacteria we used to study with the kingdom Plantae, because bacteria have the cell wall. Similarly, unicellular and multicellular. In two kingdom classification, unicellular organisms are classified with the multicellular organisms. Okay, there was no separation of unicellular organisms and multicellular. All unicellular which were autotrophic were classified with the Plantae, and all the unicellular like protozoan without cell wall are studied with the Animalia. Later on they are kept in a separate group. One group is reserved for unicellular organism. Okay, and that group is called Protista. Okay. Similarly, there are organisms which have here the basis was mode of nutrition, but there are many organisms which show the dual mode of nutrition. Okay, so dual mode of nutrition. These organisms are called mixotrophic organism. Dual mode of nutrition or mixotrophic. Okay. Mixotrophic organisms, so means they, when sunlight is present, they or chloroplast is present. That's why they act as the autotrophic. And when there is no sunlight, no photosynthesis, then they can act as the heterotrophic. Example we can take is the Euglena. This is very important example you need to remember. Euglena is a unicellular organism which have chloroplast. In presence of sunlight, it carry out photosynthesis and it is autotroph. But when there is no sunlight, it can behave as the heterotroph also. So such kind of nutrition is called mixotrophic nutrition. It shows the dual mode of nutrition. So they are not classified properly by two kingdom classification system. Okay. Then we can list out more organisms which have not got proper classification position, like slime molds, lichens, okay, viruses. Okay, so we can write slime molds, lichens, etc. These are the organisms which were not properly classified in any of the group. Last point we can add, that is most important group of organism, fungi. Fungi classified with plants or plantae. Please remember, fungi have cell wall. Their thallus, their body is similar to the plants, but fungus are heterotrophs, so they cannot be classified. They cannot be studied with the plant. Later on, that is kept in the separate group. So these are the certain shortcomings or drawbacks. These organisms, in summary we can say, these organisms were not classified in proper groups. Okay, so these are considered as the drawbacks or shortcomings of the two kingdom classification. Okay, three kingdom classification proposed by Ernst Haeckel, and he added the group Protista. So please remember, the credit of adding three kingdom classification, giving three kingdom classification goes to Ernst Haeckel. He added the group Protista, okay, where the organisms included which do not have well differentiated tissues. Later on, one more kingdom is added by the scientist Copeland, that is the Monera, and that we consider as the four kingdom classification. But three kingdom and four kingdom classification were not used for the longer duration, and ultimately five kingdom classification proposed. In next video we will cover the five kingdom classification. Thank you.